I thought today, having spoke about our overall approach last time, that we should talk about how we bring the activation framework to life in a client environment. And I know we've done probably 20 to 30 workshops over the last year, and probably 200 or 300 people have been through one of our activation workshops. Tell us about what are they and how do we use them?
Great. So we bring people together for about 2 hours. In those 2 hours, we introduce them to what we think of as activation, creating experiences that drive people to action. And then we explore our activation framework, which consists of 8 catalysts and 48 tactics for driving people to action.
We looked at those last time, but we can put them back up on the screen.
Yeah, absolutely. And then the next step is to look at creating what we call a rapid activation plan.
Mm-hmm.
It's rapid because you can do it quickly, but it achieves rapid results. It gets you to a change really quickly. And it's counterintuitively simple, right? So you start off by thinking of an audience. Who is it that you need to drive to action? So an example of that would be like our first project that we worked on together at Accenture back in 2016 was you had an audience of new analysts coming into Accenture.
Yeah.
Very many of them, I remember at the time. And so you identify an audience and you recognize you've got some kind of problem that you want to solve for the audience. The problem in that instance is the second part of the rapid activation plan. What problems are you experiencing? And back in 2016 and to this day, you've got the problem of new joiners, and it's a fairly universal problem, is time to proficiency. How long does it take you to get a new audience and a set of new joiners proficient in their roles? So you identify that as a problem. The next step is to identify what kinds of changes you want to make, what are the outcomes that you want to achieve. And so in that case, you want to reduce the time to proficiency. You probably also have other kinds of problems and related outcomes, like how much management overhead is required to be able to get people there. Then the next step is to figure out, well, if those are the problems you want to solve, what behaviors do people need to exhibit? Yeah. So in the Accenture context, we needed to make sure that people could engage in networking so that they would be able to get known, get staffed onto projects really quickly and add value faster.
Yeah.
We also knew that they needed to collaborate more effectively and that there were actually specific ways of doing that. And finally, that they would adopt all of the technologies available to them really quickly.
So how did we remember the exercise to go and talk to people who've been in the company for a couple of years? So through an interview, through understanding best practices, if you like, or what people had found most useful, that's how we got to those 3 different topics.
Yeah, exactly. And people will come up with hundreds of ideas, right? Your job is to then sift through them and say, which of these cluster together?
Mm-hmm.
Which of them could be categories for behaviors? So then that gets you a set of behaviors. So we know we want people to engage in networking. We want them to start doing that more. We want them to start collaborating more. We want them to start using digital technologies more. We probably also want them to stop doing various things. And once you've got that set of behaviors, you can create experiences that correspond with the behaviors. And so let's remove the intention-action gap. Let's get people to do those things.
Right.
And then finally, you've got metrics, and a set of activation metrics. And the metrics are, what was the reduction in time to proficiency? Or what corollary metrics were there? Was it an increase in billable hours or a decrease? Was there a way to quantify the extent to which we reduce management overhead?
Yeah.
And those become your metrics. So you've got an activation audience, you've got activation problems, you've got activation outcomes you want to achieve, you've got a set of behaviors to activate, and then finally you've got a set of metrics that those things influence.
So one of the things we've looked at more recently is that those business metrics alongside the getting the behaviours right.
Yeah.
Because behaviours, okay, it's tough. You can get them done, but actually more compelling is, can we find some business metrics or activation measures that will actually move the dial, whether it's sales, engagement, or levels of proficiency. That's pretty cool that we can actually get to those types of measures as well.
And attrition and retention as well.